If you want a nice, secure family where your kids aren't taken or going to jail or committing acts of crime or trying to think they're the next major gangster, don't participate in that life. How many firms have you heard? How many big notorious families do you hear around your city? The only ones that last long term are snitches. All the ones that don't last long term and you see them getting roped off and getting double figures, 20 wrecks, they're not snitches, but they're complete rats because they're distributing all over the city. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Trust me, lad. Get off your narrative about this snitch shout and this wall of silence, because trust me, it's not going to take long before a wave of positivity rushes right through the city of Liverpool, and any of you that are on that negative side of life will be getting run out. Doesn't matter how established you are. Doesn't matter if you've got a big fat gym that's supplied with money. It doesn't matter how many businesses you've got. You know, your whole family can fall to pieces once you're took out the game, and you know it. Anyway, it is what it is, people. Peace out. I should have had a meeting at 1 o'clock. I've gone over, so I'm going to have to go down and see what's happening with the meeting. Kerry Flynn has people in Liverpool. You live like that life for so long, don't think you can get out of it. Village boy, I'm not out of it. I'm in it from a different angle. I know I can't get away from them, so I battle them. They don't want me out of that system. They don't want me out of that life. They don't want me using my mouth. They want me using my hands. They want me lifed off. They want me shot dead. Don't be daft, kid. Do you think I'm going to give them the opportunity to do so? Do you know how long they've been telling me they're going to kill me? Do you know how long I've been waiting for them to come and kill me? Because if they come and kill me, I go down as a martyr. I don't go down as a dickhead criminal, old school gangster that promoted crime through books and my life. I'll go down as someone that was creating change. I'll go down as someone that died for a purpose. I'm not just rolling over at the end of life. Do you like Kirby? I love it. But just the same, just like Kirby, I've got some decent mates in Kirby. They've moved now. Why? Because there's kids being slashed up, there's houses being kicked in, and so on and so forth. It's like that right across the city. It's like that right across the city. Like I was saying, every community in the city, whether it's Dovecot, Ayton, Kirkdale, Bootle, Anfield, every community has got a minority of families. It's the same families that have been continuing over the decades, over the generations, that have continued to participate in drug dealing, continue to participate in murdering individuals. You've only got to look at the Bakers as an example, haven't you? You know, the Bakers have killed 7 people in the city of Liverpool, and not one of them have been brought to justice for them. The last person they killed was James Taylor. James Taylor got killed while he was going to pick his daughter up from a dance class. Do you understand? Why? Because he had a mate that had upset them. Because he was mates with Rudy. You decided to go and kill him instead of Rudy. You horrible scumbags. Horrible, dying, dirty scumbags, them Bakers. And there's families of them all over in place, loads of them. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? But they've been going since the dad was 60. Since their dad, not young Tommy, not senior Tommy. I'm on about Grandad Thomas. Grandad Thomas had been dealing since he was 30 years of age. Son Thomas started grafting when he was 32 years of age, earlier. Young Ben was grafted at the age of 15, moving weight around the city. There's 3 generations of one family. Bang, 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 bang. And don't forget the Bakers and who they had round them before they kicked in. You know, you had your Thomas Robbos. You had all these individuals as part of that organised crime group. Big Tommy robbed them all, so they all switched on them. That's what happened. All Tommy's group not Silver, the one under him. All his group were putting money into a war chest for years. Every little grafter underneath Thomas Baker was putting dough in every month into this war chest on the promise that you'd all be given it later on in life. For years, you had your Fet Masons, you had your Rudies, you had all your dealers from all over the gaff that was linked to his group, your Sean Harris, your Jobo Harris, all these Judgy, Tony Judge, all these individuals was giving Thomas Baker money every month under the principle that they would get it back later on in life. When that time come for people like Fet Mason and Rudy and Danny Reed's little soldier, don't forget where he came from. When the time was come for them to request the dough, Robbo, all these little mad people, you got off. You got off. So who came in? Who got paid to kill him? Now everyone's pointing the finger at Rudy. Rudy done Baker. Rudy done... Did he? Did he? Well, let me tell you now, it was the Irish that done Baker. It might have been for them, but it was Thomas's Baker's underdogs that have been giving him money for years that got him done. They mightn't have been the gunmen in the situation, but they paid to get him done. Why? Because he robbed them. He'd robbed them. Like he'd robbed other people in different parts of the country, like Manchester. You know, he bumped some kids who were mates with Rudy. Rudy's girlfriend's sister goes with a kid from Manchester, and the serious individuals. And these kids from Manchester done a robbery, or knew someone that done a robbery years and years and years ago. And they got their hands on a load of jewellery. Yeah. That jewellery went to Thomas and he refused to pay them. He refused to pay them. But you know, the minute they shot Jay Taylor, the minute they blasted young Jay Taylor in front of his children and his daughter outside that dance school, the jewellery that they've been telling the Manchester kids had gone missing and they're not going to pay for it, all of a sudden appeared, buried or placed on a railway track next to a firearm. The reason they put that jewellery there and that gun there at that time was to send the investigation to Manchester. Was to send the investigation down to the McCaffreys. Fact. We've got Jay, went to Liverpool on my stag do. We'll never go back again, a drug den. Exactly, mate. And that is another thing that I'm addressing without me knowing it, indirectly. I want people like you to come into our city and bring your money and spend your money in our clubs and our nightlife. Why? Because it makes our city popular. It makes our city better, more open to tourism. And we all know our cities are built on tourism, especially Liverpool. The amount of crime, children being murdered, is having a massive impact upon tourism in Liverpool. And with that tourism being impacted on massively, Liverpool's taken and beaten. The council's losing money that it was used to off these tourists because these tourists don't feel safe in our city. You get people from all over the country wanting to come to Liverpool to experience Liverpool's popular nightlife because it's the best. They're coming up here and getting raped. They're getting drugged, spiked, took back to parties and raped. Young lads, young girls raped. Young men, young girls cut down the face. Young men stabbed to death. This is what happens in our city centre. You've only got to look over the last few years how many young men have been stabbed to death in nightclubs in the city centre where the security haven't done all because it's run by a criminal. Like every city, criminals, top of the chain, start running security departments and start using their criminal influence to secure doors and secure contracts with councils and so on and so forth. So, for example, years ago, when I was at the height of my game, I could walk into Liverpool with my boys and not queue up. We didn't have to queue up. We didn't have to wear suits or jeans. We could turn up in tracksuits, walk straight to the front of the line and get in the club before anyone who'd been there for an hour. Why? Because the doormen were employed by criminals. And then criminals were aware of what we're about. So instead of having trouble on the door, they used to just let us in. And if we was searched and we did have a firearm on us, we'd get a wink. Do you understand what I'm saying? And if it did go off in one of their clubs and a doorman got stabbed to bits, like they did loads of times, we didn't get a comeback. There weren't no comeback of all these doormen looking to hurt us. It was more of a, can you stop it? Please, we don't want no trouble. That's the way it goes. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't think it's changed now. Don't think because bouncers have got a CSC card that the old-time gangsters aren't still in charge. They're still up there on the director's board. They're still sitting around that table as an area manager getting a yearly wage. Just because they're not on the door wearing the badge doesn't mean they're not in the club sitting upstairs. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? You know, look at these individuals that have stabbed young children to death, or young men, or cut young people, or slashed them up. Only certain individuals will get arrested, and only certain CCTV for certain incidents will be given to the investigation team. The minute it's part of that firm, and they've been on the phone to that security firm and said, CCTV's gone missing. It's gone missing. All of a sudden the bouncers are blind. Never mind you've had a girl cut in the process. The bouncers are now blind because they're aware it's that firm that's done it, and that firm are notorious in the city right now, and we don't really want anything up with them because they'll shut us down. And that's the way it's always been. That's the way it's always been, man. So many thoughts on Stephen Green. You know what? I've only ever met one Stephen Green, to be honest, and was years ago. Greeny from Truebrook. Or Kenny. Boss car robber. Is he dead now? Anyway, when I was round him, when I was around Steve Green, he was decent. You know, he weren't mixing with Jaffa at that time, if you know Jaffa Brown. He got lifed off, didn't he, remember? For Trainer. Do you remember Jaffa stabbed Trainer outside Ferraris years and years ago? What a kid that Trainer was, like. Boss lad, him. But anyway, Steve Green, and I know him from my YP days and I know him from my early prison days, and what I remember of him, he was a decent kid, lad. Can't really knock him. I'm not here to knock everyone. Not here to sh on everyone. Anyone that's been in my life that's decent, I'm fast to tell you, they're decent kids. So when you ask if I go to Liverpool, I go to Liverpool all the time. Just because people scream that I'm not allowed in Liverpool and I can't go either, I'm everywhere in Liverpool. You see, when they sleep, I creep. I've always done that. That was my advantage over all them individuals. I was nocturnal. When they went home with their bird, I was sitting on their tree watching their window. And that's the way I've always done it.